Want to learn about Hanukkah?
I already know all I need to know about Hanukkah.
That's not what Hanukkah's about, Donnie. Donnie, what is Hanukkah?
Hanukkah is like 8 days of Christmas, pretty much.
No, Donnie, it's not. Hanukkah is a Jewish holiday which lasts for 8 days and nights, and it starts on the 25th day of the Jewish month of Kislev, which usually coincides around late November, early December. Oh, Donnie, what do you know about the menorah?
It's like the Advent wreath, but double.
Mm.
Actually, Donnie, the menorah is one of the oldest symbols of the nation of Israel's mission to be a light unto the nations. And actually, it's a 9-branch menorah instead of the old 7-branch menorah because they didn't want to recreate anything that was part of the old Temple of Israel after it was destroyed. And the reason we commemorate the menorah during Hanukkah is because of when it lasted for 8 days on a single day's oil. And that's why Hanukkah lasts for 8 days.
There you go.
So, Donnie, what's a dreidel?
It's like a top thing, right?
Well, Donnie, actually, you're right.
I am?
Yeah. But it's not all.
Oh.
The dreidel is a top that has 4 Hebrew letters on it, and it's used in a popular game during Hanukkah that children play, where they usually have a pot of various things. It could be chocolate coins, it could be actual money, it could be candy, and then you spin the top, and whatever side it lands on depends on your winnings. You could either win it all, lose everything you have. It's a fun game to play.
As Gabe just mentioned, the dreidel is used for a children's game during Hanukkah, but it symbolizes a little bit more than that. According to Chabad.org, the 4 letters on the dreidel, the Nun, Gimel, Hey, and Shin, represent an acronym that stands for Nes Gadol Haya Shem, which means a great miracle happened there. Now, it's kind of cool. In Israel, since Hanukkah happened in Israel, the dreidels replace the letter Shin here with the letter Pei or Fei, which means here. So the dreidel says, a great miracle happened here.
Hi, my name's Donnie Schmidt, and I like the latke flavor of Dr. Pepper. This pop is amazing. It really has taste that satisfies.
Donnie, a latke is a traditional Jewish food. It's not a flavor of Dr. Pepper.
It's still really good pop, though.
What a latke is, it's a traditional Jewish food, basically a potato pancake, that symbolizes, since it was cooked in oil, the same oil that the menorah lasted for 8 days, if you remember back to the menorah. Remember the menorah, Donnie?
Yeah, it's like that Christmas wreath thing.
Oh, Donnie. Gib. Have you seen Donnie?
No. Actually, I think the last time I saw him, he was over at the Jewish temple getting beat up. But that does remind me of the Maccabean revolt.
What's the Maccabean revolt?
Well, it's what Hanukkah partly celebrates, where it was led by Jews Maccabeus to vanquish the evil Greek emperor Antiochus and retake the Temple of Israel. And then that is where the miracle of the Hanukkah occurred.
Wow.
Yeah.
Now, one of the more intriguing yet gruesome stories about Hanukkah comes in the form of the Maccabean revolt. MyJewishLearning.com provides a great synopsis of the story, but I'm going to break it down for you. In 168 BCE, the leader of Syria, Antiochus Epiphanes IV, led a campaign to squash all the Jewish sects in his empire, which included Israel. You know, he made it illegal to study the Torah, observe the Sabbath, circumcise Jewish boys, and he desecrated the temple. Now, when Syrian soldiers kind of invaded, they met with this local leader, Matthias the Kohen, and they asked him to sacrifice a pig on a portable pagan altar to kind of symbolize that they were going to go along with the Syrian rule. And Matthias refused, said, whoever is for God, follow me. Took his 5 sons, one of them being Judah Maccabeus, and he's primarily the one that most people focus on when they talk about the Maccabean revolt, because he was well-equipped, fought a great guerrilla war against these well-trained Syrian soldiers. The revolt lasted 3 years, and the Maccabees cleared the way back to the Temple Mount, and they reclaimed the temple, essentially. They cleaned it, they dismantled the defiled altar and constructed a new one, And they held a dedication to this temple. That was what Hanukkah was for, essentially. They rekindled this golden menorah and used the 8 days of celebration to praise God.
Honey, are you okay?
No, those rabbis are really tough.
What happened?
They don't like ignorance.
Well,
They beat me over the head with a shamash.
they did?
Yeah.
What's a shamash?
Well, a shamash is part of the menorah, where you know how it's 8 candles in the one, either up above or down below the level of all the other ones? That's what the shamash is. It's a candle used for practical purposes, because lighting the 8 candles outside of Hanukkah is forbidden. So it's not like you're just having a piece of metal that lies around until 8 days of the year. You're allowed to light the shamash anytime you want, just to use it as light.
Women, children went from house to house, tins in hand, to collect wicks for the Hanukkah menorah.
Fact! The 8th and last night of Hanukkah used to be very special. All the leftover wicks and oil were put into a giant pile and lit as a bonfire. People danced around them and celebrated until the late hours of the night. Fact!
In ancient times, oil was used in the menorah. Over time, candles were substituted for the oil. Fact!